Good day, everyone. Today is another lecture on questions, answers, and why, specifically on the topic of crop protection. So, simulan na natin. Number one question says here, among invertebrates, only insects have these characteristics: segmented body, antennae, no backbone, or three pairs of jointed legs. Now, the question is asking about something that is unique to insects only. Now, insects belong to a group of animals called invertebrates. What are invertebrates then? Invertebrates are animals with no backbone. Now, it just makes sense na dahil ang insect ay kabilang sa grupo na to, choice letter C is already not a part, logically speaking, not a part of the correct answer. This is already not a choice that would indicate a correct answer. Kasi ang insect kasama na sa grupo ng mga invertebrates wherein within this group, insect is only one group that has no backbone. So marami pang iba. Yun yung basically nagiglean natin na conclusion or insight doon sa question. Now, ano ba kasi ang itsura ng insect? Insect looks like this. So, an insect has, we can see, mayroon siyang segmented body, mayroon siyang wings, may antenna, yeah, and three pairs of legs. We're going back to the question. Segmented body. Insect lang ba ang may segmented body? Let's see. Well, no. If you're going to consider other animals that are invertebrates, let's say spiders are not insects, pero segmented yung kanilang katawan. Right? Let's see. Another one. Centipede and millipedes. Are these insects? No, they are not insects, but they do have a segmented body. Earthworms. Well, earthworms are invertebrates with segmented body, but they are also not considered an insect. So, segmented body is already the wrong answer here. Antenna. Presence of antenna. Hindi rin, tama. Kasi, for example, may mga crustaceans tayo, like crabs and lobsters, na may antenna. Insects do have antenna, yes, but crustaceans are not insects, therefore letter B is already wrong. So we are left with letter D. By process of elimination and by common sense as well, I suppose, kasi nga nabanggit ko na kanina dito na isa sa mga characteristic ng insect is having three pairs of legs, and therefore letter D is the correct answer. Okay? We now move to question number 2. Where is the cerci located in insects? Question: what is this? What is a cerci? Cerci is an appendages located in the posterior end of the insect. So sa pinaka puwetan, opposite of the head, nakalocate yung cerci na yan, which is basically an appendage, an organ that is used for some sensory functions, and it can also use it, and for some insects it can also be used for reproductive functions. Now, we have to understand where ang tinatanong dito is saan ba to nakalocate, and ito yung mga choices natin. Nakalocate daw ba siya sa antenna, sa thorax, sa abdomen, or sa legs? Now, tignan natin yung diagram at tignan natin yung photo on the next slide to see kung nasaan ba si cerci and ano yung itsura niya. So, in this diagram, ito yung appendage na sinasabi ko that is pinaka-posterior doon sa insekto or pinaka-puwitan ng insekto. Is it located sa antenna? That's option number 1. No. Yung antenna, nandito siya sa pinakadulo. Actually, naka-attach yung antenna sa part ng insect which we call the head. Nasa ulo. Diba? Let's see. Legs. Yung legs ay nandito. May cerci ba naka-attach sa legs? None. Actually, yung legs is naka-attach sa, anong tawag sa region na to? Thorax ng insect. So it does not make sense. Thorax and legs does not make sense anymore. Therefore, we are left with letter C. Diba? Abdomen. Now, where is the abdomen? The abdomen is this one. Okay? So, yun yung pinakadulo na segment ng insect. This is your abdomen. And in the abdomen, doon naka-attach yung cerci natin. Okay? So the correct answer is letter C, abdomen. Third question. A blight pathogen will affect the plant's capacity to reproduce, photosynthesize, replicate, or repair its cells. The question is asking, what is the effect of blight sa functional capacity ng halaman? And you may remember this, and you might have heard of this, na pagdating sa exam, we're talking about doon sa pinakatamang sagot among all of the choices, right? So, when you are given this kind of question, you have to understand na ang tinatanong dito is, ano ba yung direct? Ano ba yung direct effect? Direct effect ng blight sa halaman. Yun yung tinatanong dyan. So, yung ano ba yung pinaka-inaapektuhan ng blight sa halaman? Kasi, kapag nagkaroon ng blight yung halaman, almost always, yung other functions niya apektado rin. Like for example, the function of the plant to reproduce. Apektado ba yan ng blight? Yes, aapektuhan yan ng blight. But, this is an indirect effect of blight. Kasi ang blight, ano bang itsura kasi ng blight? It looks like this. Ang symptom ng blight looks like a small blotches of spots sa dahon. Kapag medyo advanced na yan, makikita mo na rin yan sa stem. So it basically destroys the chlorophyll producing tissues of the plant and sometimes it's vascular tissues as well that affects yung transport ng minerals and water. So given that na ang pinaka-inaapektuhan pala ng halaman is dahon, ano ngayon ang pinakatamang choice dito? So dahon is related to what? It's related to ano yung pinaka-function ng dahon? Exactly, letter B. Pinaka-function ng dahon is to photosynthesize. Right? Now, if this plant suddenly nagkaroon ng blight, nasisira yung mga cells doon sa dahon na yun. And nagpo-form siya ng blotches, ng brown spots. And this, kapag in-infect na niya yung halaman, the leaves of that plant will not be able to photosynthesize anymore kasi wala na siyang chlorophyll. So yan yung pinaka-direct effect ng blight pathogen sa halaman. It affects its photosynthesis. Replicate, bakit hindi ito yung tamang sagot? Replicate is, well, it's questionable, right? Kasi when you say a plant's capacity to replicate what? Replicate itself, replicate its cells. This is not specified, therefore making it the wrong answer. Repair its cells. Repair its cells? Yes, plants do repair itself kapag natamaan sila ng sakit. But blight is also same as letter A, indirect yung effect niya doon sa capacity ng halaman to repair its cells. Therefore, the answer is letter B, photosynthesize. Question number 4, a diseased plant is considered a... So ano daw ang tawag sa isang diseased plant? Is it considered, for example, a specimen? What is a specimen? A specimen is a plant or a part of plant that is used for analysis. Okay? So for example, kinuha mo yung halaman mong cactus sa bahay nyo, pinag-aralan mo, that cactus becomes a specimen. Kinuha mo yung dahon ng patatas mo na may blight, okay? Para pag-aralan, that is considered a specimen. But a specimen does not always need to be diseased. Pwedeng hindi siya diseased, gusto mo lang pag-aralan. So specimen now is the wrong answer. Parasite. A parasite is an organism that depends on another organism for it to fulfill its life cycle. Now, does a diseased plant do that? Kapag ba ang halaman may sakit, nagpaparasitize siya, nagde-depend siya on another organism to support him? No, right? Diseased plants are not usually considered a parasite. Abiotic, ano tong term na to? Well, abiotic refers to factors that are non-living. Non-living factors. Like for example, yung temperature mo, mineral deficiencies. Abiotic is actually used as a term to distinguish factors that causes disease or injury sa halaman na hindi caused, that it is not caused by any living organism, like for example, your pathogen, for example, virus, bacteria, fungi, insects, etc. So again, abiotic here does not make sense. It is the wrong answer. And so, we're left with the answer of suscept. And suscept is the right answer. Suscept is a short word for susceptible. And a diseased plant is considered a suscept. Fifth question, and this would be the last question. Aflatoxin is formed by... Okay, so hindi natin masasagot yung question na to kung hindi natin alam kung ano ang aflatoxin. Now, aflatoxin are toxins, okay? With its word, aflatoxin, they are toxins produced by a certain fungi. And yun yung hinahanap dito sa tanong na to. Aflatoxin is formed by what specific fungi? So, ano yung genus and species ng fungi na yon? Again, aflatoxins are toxins. They are not diseases. Okay? So, for example, ito yung itsura ng ating aflatoxin, which is, makikita natin may mga mold-like structures and some discoloration sa mais. Mostly, ang inaapektuhan ng aflatoxin are corn, peanuts, and other legume products. Now, aflatoxin is being caused by a specific fungi, which is hahanapin natin sa mga choices na to ngayon. Letter D is Purplusipomae. This one, if we're studying some of the fungi that we know of sa ating crop protection and plant pathology specifically, is Purplus is a term that doesn't make any sense. Pangalawa, this one is a genus name for sweet potato. Tama? And nasabi natin kanina that aflatoxin, ang pinaka-inaapektuhan niya are our corn, nuts, and some legume products. So, hindi na ito yung tamang sagot. Aspergillus scabies. Oh, well, yes, Aspergillus is a kind of fungi. But the term scabies, this looks like a term pertaining to a disease. Diba? Now, does it make sense? Itong choice na to? Well, it's not. Because again, nasabi ko kanina, aflatoxin is not a disease. It is a toxin produced by a particular fungi. So this one is again eliminated as part of the answer. Letter B, Aspergillus rhizopus. Okay, Aspergillus, tama naman. That's a genus for fungi. But then Rhizopus is also a genus for fungi. So these two are actually different kinds of fungi. So hindi na rin tama si letter B. So now we're left with letter A, Aspergillus flavus. Okay? And Aspergillus flavus is the correct answer for this question. Aspergillus flavus are fungi that produces aflatoxin that is not just harmful to your plant, but is also harmful to human beings. Now, under which circumstances napoproduce tong toxin na to? Well, usually it is produced kapag hindi maayos yung storage nung crop natin, such as our corn and peanuts. Kapag masyadong mataas yung moisture, and kapag masyadong mataas yung moisture, pwedeng mag-propagate yung Aspergillus flavus, producing aflatoxin that is harmful to human beings as well.